My name is Julie Benbow. I am 61 years old, and my relationship with Jack is one of friendship. I have known him through little brothers.
My name is Jack K. Harmon. I am 81 years old today. I'm here with Julie at Little Brothers Elderly in San Francisco.
So, Jack, where were you born?
I was born in Chicago, Illinois. Tell my friends that I meet now that I was very fortunate to live in three great cities. I was raised and grew up in Chicago. I raised, quote, hell in New York City, Manhattan, and I am now mellowing out in San Francisco. I left Chicago in my late 20s to move to Manhattan, New York.
And I presume that in those days Manhattan was a little bit quieter than it is today. So, what was it like in Manhattan in that era?
It was the 60s
Oh.
with all the revolutions going on. I went through the women's lib, gay liberation, all the assassinations. I was teaching at the time of President Kennedy's assassination, then the Bobby Kennedy assassination, and then Martin Luther King's assassination. It seemed like everybody was being killed. And it was very trying times where we didn't know what we were doing. Everyone that was living in New York was seemed to they were going to become the next great actress, actor, playwright, novelist. No one was doing their jobs. It was all temporary. We were very, quote, phony. We go to the theater, try to be a first nighter, which we couldn't. But I managed to see all the stars in the Broadway shows during the first year because there was a trick to knowing how to get good tickets. At that time, I was teaching where you could afford to live and enjoy the cities, all the things that are available for the city on the teacher's salary.
What subjects were you teaching and at what grade level?
Well, I was teaching at a boys' high school. It was considered one of the roughest schools. When I laugh now, when I think about them, compared to what's going on today in our schools, they were pussycats. We had some mean kids, things, we had problems. I have to tell this story. I made the New York Times front page with a picture of me. They showed me with my peace symbol sitting at the desk, and surrounding me were the three ugliest, meanest looking young boys that they can find with their hoodies on. And they were really nice, one of the better students. And there was me looking angelic. So the experiment was the mini schools, Mr. Harmon teaching these. I can't remember how the caption was, but it implied that they were gangsters, a farce. All my students at that time, African Americans, wore these afro, and I just see a sea of hair. I couldn't see the faces. I was very jealous because I was balding at that time. I was so naive in those days. My homeroom class during Christmas uh, gave me a bottle of very expensive scotch. They expected me to share it with them. I said, I'm going to save it for a special occasion, which I did. I was naive. I told the principal, I said, my students love me. They gave me a bottle, and he gave me a dirty look.
What made you want to move from New York, which was this fabulous hotbed of everything happening?
Here again, it was a curse and a blessing. My father needed me. He was ill, so I went back to Chicago to take care of the family business. And he passed away. And so I took care of the family business. And then I felt sorry for myself, and I started drinking heavily. And and I inherited a little amount of money. It was $100,000. At that time, it was a considerate amount. Then I said to myself, well, I'll enjoy life a little bit, and then I'll get back to work. But what happened was, during the years of drinking and partying, I lost confidence in myself, and I became an alcoholic and lost everything. Then I was going to start fresh again, and I was going to go back to New York. after I cleared everything out in the family. I was traveling in those days, and I went to San Francisco and L.A. to visit relatives. And I fell in love with the city of San Francisco. So I said to myself, go west, young man. It's better late than never. And I relocated here, hoping I would start fresh. But then I went back to drinking because the city was so fabulous at that time. This was early 80s. And so I said, I'll look for a job. I had a little money. And then what happened was I lost all the money, and then I started going in men's shelter and Salvation Army, and then I started cleaning up my act. And I'm clean and sober today after 29 years.